Do you think Jaws is the only 4th of July horror staple? Think again. While everyone's busy avoiding the beach, there's a fisherman with a hook who's been terrorizing small-town America for 28 years. And somehow, I Know What You Did Last Summer still treated like the forgotten stepchild of 90s slashers. This coastal nightmare made $125 million, practically invented summer guilt trip horror, and gave us one of the greatest chase scenes in slasher history.
You suck, you jackass!
Howdy, thanks for clicking on this video to see what this jackass has to say. I appreciate you. Today I wanted to dive hook first, see what I did there, into I Know What You Did Last Summer, a film that I think gets criminally overlooked as an Independence Day banger. While it's fair that most people think of Jaws when it comes to summer scares, this 90s gem is set right in the middle of small-town 4th of July festivities, complete with parades, beauty pageants, and of course, a killer with a hook. But is it a classic? And more importantly, is it the most overlooked 4th of July classic out there? Well, let's talk about it. Personally, I think summer horror movies rarely get the love they deserve. Halloween has Halloween. Christmas horror has a sleigh full, but the 4th of July, it's mostly reserved for patriotic blockbusters and the occasional shark. I Know What You Did Last Summer, released at the height of the Scream craze, was often dismissed as a Me Too slasher riding the coattails of its meta cousin. But watching it now away from the shadow of Scream, it's clear this movie deserves a place in the pantheon of summer horror classics. Kevin Williamson, fresh off his success with Scream, adapted Lois Duncan's 1973 novel into a slasher masterpiece. But here is something interesting. Duncan's original novel was a slow burn psychological thriller, not a body count horror. There's really no bodies at all. So what Williamson did was that he took the core concept of guilt and consequences and cranked up the violence and suspense. Director Jim Gillespie, making his feature film debut, brought a sleek visual style that perfectly captured the coastal atmosphere and teen angst of the 90s. So what's this movie about? Yeah, let's get into it. It's July 4th, 1996, and 4 fresh-faced graduates are living their best life after a beach party. Julie, Helen, Barry, and Ray are driving through the foggy coastal roads when, bam, they hit what they think at first is a deer, then they think it's just some random guy walking along the highway. But here's where it gets juicy. Instead of calling 911 like, most normal people would, these geniuses decide to dump the body in the ocean and make a blood pact to never speak of it again. Because nothing says we're totally innocent like throwing a potentially alive person into the Atlantic Ocean, right? So the person they hit, they initially think is a guy named David Egan. We later come to find out it's a local fisherman named Ben Willis, who definitely didn't deserve to become fish food. So then we cut to 4 friends going their separate ways, thinking they've buried their secret deeper than the Titanic. Then we fast forward a year, and karma comes a-knocking with a hook. Julie gets a mysterious note that simply says, I know what you did last summer. And suddenly, everyone's paranoia goes through the roof. What starts as psychological torture quickly escalates when their friend Barry gets his hair cut by more than just a barber, if you know what I mean. The killer, who sports a raincoat slicker that screams I definitely don't work at a seafood restaurant, starts picking them off one by one. Helen's epic chase through her family's department store is one of the best chases in a slasher movie to this day, complete with mannequins that suddenly become very suspicious and a killer who knows every hiding spot. Meanwhile, Julie's trying to piece together who could possibly know their deadly secret, because apparently small coastal towns aren't great at keeping things quiet. But then there's the twist that nobody saw coming. Ben Willis isn't just alive, he's been planning his revenge for an entire year. And he's got some serious issues with being left for dead. The final showdown on his creepy fishing boat is claustrophobic terror at its finest, with Julie trapped at sea while discovering that Ben's been collecting more than just fish. The dude's basically turned into the world's most patient serial killer, complete with a hook that would make Captain Hook jealous. Just when you think our final girls finally escaped, the movie delivers one more gotcha moment that'll make you never trust a shower again. Because in the world of 90s slashers, nobody stays dead, especially not vengeful fishermen with serious grudges and really good upper body strength. The film explores guilt, consequences, and the psychological weight of secrets with surprising depth. Unlike Scream's meta-commentary, I Know What You Did Last Summer plays it straight, focusing on how one terrible decision can haunt you forever. The killer's hook isn't just a weapon, it's a symbol of how the past can snare you when you least expect it. The movie taps into the very real fear of being found out, of having your worst moment exposed. In the age of social media, this theme resonates even more strongly today than ever. The idea that secrets can't stay buried in small towns really feels prophetic. The film's influence extends far beyond its box office success. It helped helped establish the template for late 90s teen horror, proving that audiences really wanted more than just Scream clones. The movie's straightforward approach to horror, combined with its strong performances and atmospheric direction, created a long-lasting impression on the genre. One of the aspects I enjoy the most going back and rewatching this is that unlike a lot of slashers before, most of the characters here are really likable. Except Ryan Phillippe's character, he's an insufferable prick and I low-key cheered when he got his comeuppance. Jennifer Love Hewitt is great in this film. She plays a girl with trauma from the actions of the previous summer to perfection. Her anxious mannerisms and manic reactions are very believable and really help sell a lot of the scenes. At the end of the day, I think she's a solid final girl. And I think Sarah Michelle Gellar gives the best performance of the entire film, and her death when it happens was easily the hardest to stomach. Freddie Prinze Jr.'s easily the weakest link here. He plays this mellow bro with the worst lines of dialogue, and he's just overall a very milquetoast character. This happens to be the movie where Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar met and have defied those Hollywood odds and are still married to this very day. The movie's enduring popularity is evident in its continued cultural presence from forgettable sequels. I mean, I had no idea there was a third installment called I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. And then there was that shit-ass streaming TV series adaptation on Prime. And then there's an upcoming 2025 reboot/requel. The new one hits theaters July 18th, 2025, and apparently it's not just a reboot, it's a direct sequel that brings back Julie and Ray as survivors of what's now called the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997. When a new group of friends covers up their own deadly car accident, they seek help from the original survivors, creating a fascinating generational mirror. Anyway, back to this particular movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer works because it understands that most terrifying horror comes from our own choices. The film captures the essence of summer, the freedom, the recklessness, and the naive belief that consequences are for other people. It's not just about a hook-wielding killer, it's about how one moment of poor judgment can define the rest of your life. With the new sequel positioning the original characters as survivors who must help a new generation, the film's themes of guilt and consequences come full circle. I Know What You Did Last Summer succeeds where many slashers fail because it takes its characters and their guilt seriously. Kevin Williamson's sharp script, Jim Gillespie's atmospheric direction, and the committed performances from the entire cast really elevate it above typical 90s horror fare. The film's exploration of guilt, consequences, and the weight of secrets feels more relevant now than ever. I really don't think this movie is a product of the Scream era. It's a summer horror classic that deserves recognition alongside Jaws as the definitive warm weather fright fest. I mean, look, it's nowhere near the level of Jaws, but it's still a solid movie if you want to watch something else for the 4th of July. And I mean, look, the fact that this is inspiring news stories 28 years later proves its lasting power. So if I were to give it an updated rating, I'd say overall this movie's aged pretty well. The performances, the themes, the aesthetic, the campiness, and the great slasher moments all make this a solid watch. I'd give it a B flat. What do you think about I Know What You Did Last Summer? It was interesting going back and watching it. It's aged remarkably well. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of these retro reviews and deep dives. As always, the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone, but what do I know? I'm Buttermere Jackass. I'll try to do better next time. Catch you later, friends.
That talks too much. I'm just a jackass of all trades. Don't know shit. Keep on talking, acting like I'm so legit. From politics to sports, I'll spout.